on the back of this book that says that this book gives dark fairy tale fantasy vibes. Does it even say that? What does it say? A beautifully dark fairy tale of blood, rage, bitter choice. And then it says it's a gothic fantasy. Whatever. I like the sound of those vibes. I do. So what I think this book is about is this girl who basically has a sickness and she was infected. And because of this infection, she now has a nightmare creature in her mind that talks to her. And he's slowly taking over her, which is giving Malignant vibes in that movie. Basically, Malignant is this movie where this... If you're wondering why I'm so tall, I just naturally am this tall. Yeah, when I say I'm tall, I'm like, I actually mean it. Like, my hand is touching the roof. So, if you don't like that, you can leave. You know what I hate? I hate low power saving mode. If he does start taking over this nightmare, that is going to give Malignant vibes. Anyways, Malignant is this movie where this girl has this thing on the back of her head. It's like this creature and it like starts taking over her entire being. And the world she lives in has mist and infections, and the way to stop it is by collecting these playing cards with the help of them. And then I think she goes on a quest to get it. Is that what it is? I'm so confused. I don't know. I don't know. There's quite a lot of fairy tale vibes in this book. Let me explain. Okay, so she has an evil stepmother. And she has half-sisters. Now, I'm pretty sure in Cinderella, it's step-sisters, whatever. The logistics are thrown out the window in this scenario because two evil sister sorts and a evil stepmother? Yeah, Cinderella. Also, fairest of all, Snow White. And her dad gives her a yarrow, right? Which is a flower. And like, that's all he gives her for her birthday because that's what she wants. Beauty and the Beast. And not only that, right, the nightmare in her mind is described as the Beast. So I swear she starts having a relationship with the Beast in her mind. Yeah, we know, but he's also 500 years old. Anyways, do you all know what Click Click Slide is? Click, click, click. That's all I could think of. Also, this book, I like that it has like these playing card things. Okay. Basically, Click Click Slide was just a story that was heavily told at primary school and was basically just this woman who dragged herself with her nails on the ground, and so it'd be like click, click, and then the sound of the sliding would be her dragging her nails off because she had no legs. Now, we've learned a little bit more. Oh, that is such an unflattering angle. Please don't be mean to me. Basically, the cards, they're like magic in themselves. And the reason why the mist in the cards, like, it all came about is because civilians have to go in the woods and ask for magic. But then there was this guy, and he invented the cards, which then stopped people like going into the woods to get magic because they could just have it in their fingertips. So then this evil lady was like, I don't want that. So then she created the mist out of fury. The mist causes infections. Now the ones that survive the infections then have magic. And then if you collect all 12 cards, then you stop the mist. What is going on in this book? What is going on in this book? Okay, so I really like the atmosphere of this book. And I also like the card lore. Like, I like the learning about the individual cards and what the cards are about. Because I also have never seen anything really about like cards having magic. Her cousin got this card, and this card basically fixed her like physical imperfections. No one has imperfections except me. I've got a lot of them. But you're telling me if I could have a card that could fix my imperfections, which there's a lot. If I had a card that fixed all this, and I had people in my life who are mad and were like, oh, you just don't look the same anymore. There's nothing wrong with how her cousin looked in the past, but this card changed her appearance a little bit, right? Like, I think it made her hair more shinier, and I think she had a gap in her teeth, so it fixed that. And it made her, like, eyes a bit more, like, sparkly, I think it was. And she's just like, I miss the old version of her. You are a hater. There are so many things about myself I would change, and if there was a card to fix that, I'm running to get it. I think I want to just try to force myself to finish this book. Okay, what am I up to? I'm not even using a bookmark. I do not accept being a reading slump. I am on semester break for uni. There's no excuses. Did I mention I'm getting my hair dyed on Wednesday? I am. Now, realistically, could I do this myself? Yes, I could. But the problem is I have a tendency to buy box size. I have several box size underneath my bathroom cabinet because I was like, I want to dye my hair. But then I chicken out and I'm like, I don't want to actually dye it anymore. So I had to book an appointment because if I don't, I'm not getting anything done. And I've also been going to the same hairdresser since I was like 10. I think, you know, I was even younger than that. How old was I when I started? The logistics don't matter, but I've been going to the same hairdresser for like basically almost a decade now. So like, how embarrassing would it be if I went to her and I messed up my hair and then she has to fix it? No, I'd rather just go to her. So last night I read quite a lot of this. Remember how I said I was going towards a reading slump? No, I wasn't. I'm almost finished this book and I'm really enjoying my time reading this actually. This cover, I can't believe I have not talked about this, or have I? But this cover is very lovely, actually. It's kind of giving the gothic vibes that this book is aiming to give, you know, because it's got the buildings. Yeah, there's this kind of detailing. At first, I was a little bit confused. I was confused with the cards. I was confused with what all the cards did. I was even a little bit confused. Why is there a random bottle of that up there? I'm putting that in the bin. All the characters that were being introduced, I was having difficulty remembering who the people were at the start. But honestly, what I've learned with a lot of fantasy books is you just gotta stick with it and you just gotta keep reading, and then eventually like everything just starts making sense and it's like, oh, that's this person, that's this person. Honestly, I feel like if I could go back and restart this book, I would take notes. I would go and I would be like, okay, so this is what this card means and this is what this card is. But also I feel like I will reread this book, and so when I do, well, everything's gonna make even more sense. So it's actually an excerpt of a book at the end. Has anyone read that? What do we think? I found this person's review on a website and they have this entire table here with all the cards and everything. So I wish I found that earlier, but I'm very glad I just found it at all. There's actually so many lines with the title in them. Also, the nightmare guy in her head is really getting on my last nerve. Like at first I was like, oh, he's helping her. But now I'm just like, can you just not? You know, imagine if there was actually someone in like the back of your mind. Oh, that's scary. The characters are growing on me. See, my favorite type of romance in books is crumbs, when you get like nothing, like little miniature bits of crumbs, because then when there actually is something. I also really like the main love interest in this book. At first I didn't even know there was going to be any romance. Tell them the truth. Is that where that TikTok sound came from? You know, where it's like, tell them the truth. I hope you find some peace of mind in this lifetime. And everyone was doing it for Harry Potter edits.
Tell them the truth.
I hope you find.
This was also a while ago. I mean, I don't know when this book came out. I feel like this book probably came out a while ago. But also, guys, this is the last time you'll see me with this hair, because it's getting dyed tomorrow. Oh, you'll see it. You'll see what my hair ends up being dyed like, because there's no way I'm going to be able to finish this reading vlog by the time that happens. Also, does my makeup look bad? I was told today that my makeup looks chunky, and I was asked, why are you wearing so much makeup? Actually, if it looks bad, please don't tell me. I was also told that my makeup is orange. I go much paler in the winter. Like, I've been doing this makeup for years. Using the same products for years. And I've gotten compliments, so I don't really... Was the people that were complimenting my makeup lying? Also, I don't know how to feel about Irene. Remember, she's the cousin. She's the one that got the maiden card. Remember how I was telling you about how there was the one that she got the maiden card and then, like, kind of fixed, and then it basically changed her appearance a bit, because now it's done more than change her appearance. Now it's changed her like personality, and she's all weird and everything. So I don't know how to feel about that. There's also a scene with a man with an owl feather, and I almost broke down in tears. Like, just the mention of the owl feather, like, I just started breaking down. And like, I wish I could say there was more than that, but basically in the mist, right, people have the charms, and charms are, it's like dead animals. No, it's not dead animals. It's like, what's the charms? Everyone's just carrying decaying carcasses in their pockets. What is the... Well, the guy has an owl feather, I think, and his hand was like shaking. I have a little bit left to go, and I'm very excited to be reading it. I will be finishing it today. Now also then the nightmare guy in her mind is also, he's just starting to get really scary, but I really just like certain parts of this book. This main character, she's getting visions, right? That's interesting. Everyone in fantasy novels, they just have such like a strong instinct to survive. That is all trying so hard to survive. I just don't really have that survival instinct. Like, I would not survive in a fantasy book. In fact, I don't think I'd survive in any of these books, because like, just kill me, you know? Like, if there's a monster after me, like, just take me down. When they're trying to fight in rebellions and stuff, like, I'd actually just like lay down and accept my fate. Okay, so my book is defective. Look, 29 and then 35, and my edition is only 392 pages, so I'm missing so many. Can't do anything about it. So what can I do about that? And I tell you what, it's got to be because of this. I reckon this extras has messed up the print. I'm gonna write a little note in my book in case future me wants to read it, saying that it's missing a few chapters. What can I do? What if I find a PDF and like then print out the pages that are missing? That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna print out the little pages that I'm missing, staple them, and put it with this. That's what I'm gonna do. So that future me and anyone who wants to borrow this book, I'm telling you, it's this. Okay, I'm just gonna find a PDF somewhere. risk getting a virus to print it out. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. Do not fear. Things are gonna be solved. Okay, I got it. So, wait, let me have a... Did I just see what I think I just saw? Where is it? See, that's what we're missing. Okay, this is exciting. I just gotta do this. Yes, this is what I have. Okay, I'll be back. Wait, this is the end of it. What? Tell me why this is thicker than some of the books I actually do own. I think this actually turned out really well, actually. Like, it's actually like a little book. So I just like basically glued the pages together. If you'll see, like, I folded them in half and did that. And like, that's what I did. And I could probably have glued a little bit better, but I was doing it in the dark. I want to get this done. Whoops. But I think for the most part it's good. So now if anyone tries to borrow that from me, they will actually have like the missing pages. But to be fair, I had to do all that myself because when I was copying it, it didn't transfer over. So all of these italics I had to do myself, and I also had to fix some formatting things. But yeah, so basically last night I finished reading it all because I had to edit it. And is this technically, I'm pretty sure that this thing, like, you're not supposed to do it, but like also my book was missing all these pages. And I would argue that the pages that it's missing are some of the most like important pages. But like, isn't that cool? So I have my own little book here. I would not recommend doing this though. This took such a long time. I think I was finished at like, I don't know, but it was such a long time. And it took me hours upon hours to do. And this was only for like a few chapters. So imagine trying to do this for an entire book. And I don't know how to bookbind. I feel like that's the way to go. But like, that's what I've done. So but look at all these words. The reason why I'm showing you this is just showing you how many words I was missing. I think I was missing like 14,000. That is a lot. And those chapters were intense, like they were. So to have them just casually missed in here, it's not like you can just skip them and know what's going on. Because the last chapter, trust me, you'll be so confused and you'll be like, what's happened? I think I'm just gonna like sit it with it. Ideally, I'd like to like maybe print out this cover to stick it on. My printer does not have enough ink about that. Also, the videos I was getting of the printer, I was trying to get aesthetic videos of the printer printing these pages out. Every single time I tried to record it, like half the pages would be cut off. And I thought it was because of an ink problem. It wasn't, because I was able to like just keep reprinting until it was all fine. But how I had to do it was I had to print these all out individually, because when I tried to mass print them out, that's when they started doing that weird, when they're printing on half the page. Now this is done. This took me such a long time to do. My future self is thanking me. Anyone who wants to read this book of mine is thanking me, because once I read a book, I plan on rereading it again, you know, at some stage in my life. Even books that I don't like now, I'm thinking that perhaps when I'm older I will. Or not me, but I feel like other people will want to read them, and so I want to have like a whole bunch of things. But yeah, imagine how disappointing that would be. Someone getting this book, not having this, because like what else could I do? I can't return it. I don't want to buy another entire book, because then what happens if the same problem happens again? This last page is also a mistake, because it says book 2 of Topper King. That is the first book. This is the book I'm currently having. That is not what the next one will be about. Like, it's literally what is written on the back there. And it's saying it's for the second one. Will I read the second one? Yes. Am I scared that it's gonna show up with missing pages? Yes. I feel like Crumbs of Romance were good until all of a sudden it was just so rushed. And I'm just like, hang on a second, this is not, to this level of romance, actually not what I want in this book. Also, I didn't really vibe with the main character sometimes. There's nothing I can really pinpoint. It was just more of a vibe. The nightmare, however, remember how I said he was scary and he was getting my nerves? That completely changed. And I was then thinking the nightmare actually carried this entire book. And especially the nightmare, I really then enjoyed his, in the back of my mind, like as an entire character in itself. And his personality was changing a lot because, I don't know, it's very different. Because like he was protecting her, but also then, I don't know, he was so like, rah, but then it was like, but he wasn't. Maybe it's just because he's a character himself and he does have multifaceted emotions, as he should. And pushing aside the irritation about this, because this is not the book's fault, all right? This book, it's not its fault. It's whoever printed this book. It's their fault. And also the ending part for that random book, A Diary of Blood. I will not be able to pick up that book just because the mere thought of it. I'm just like, I reckon, I still think that's why that half these pages are missing. Even though it's more, I still feel as though it is, because I don't need to know about that. And these pages were missing. Like, ideally, if these books were in here, I definitely think I'd have like a better time. Like, I was planning on finishing this book last night and then starting the prison healer book, but obviously I had to do this. Well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to, because I didn't want to just have missing pages in my book. Like, no thank you. The ending part of this was actually the best. It set a lot of suspense and intrigue. There are things that I want to happen, which I think goes against the whole point. But the nightmare carried this book near the end. At least halfway through he started doing it. But yeah, I don't know, the romance, it was just like nothing and then all of it at once. And I was like, this is not what I wanted. So that's, I guess, a me problem. This is going to be displayed hideously on my shelf. Well, at least we'll know. We'll know why this is just a random stack of paper. But I feel like, yeah, once, I might even try to do something with the spine. I don't know. I'll see what I can do. Because right now, the spine, where is the spine? Yeah, right now the spine is just like that. The glue, I feel like I could definitely use a different glue, but like, we can't have it all, okay? Yeah, half of my time was spent watching book binding tutorials, and before I was like, actually, I don't want to do that because you need to do so many things. Because I was going to buy my own little book of this. Next time you see me, I'll have different dyed hair. So I got my hair done and I love it. Like, no, I'm obsessed. What I will say about this book so far is that I remember one of my friends said that this is like her favorite trilogy. Basically, The Prison Healer is about this girl who works in a prison as a healer, and essentially this rebel queen lady gets brought in, and this girl, her name is Kiva, she has to look after her. The queen has to like be in these trials or whatever, but obviously she's really sick so she can't, so Kiva then does the trials for her. There's a little code thing there, and I suppose there's like a romance little aspect as well. And yeah, these are just some of the vibes in the book. Oh, don't know why that's said. That's literally from Shatter Me. I don't really know what's... Okay. Yeah, there's just some more vibes. I've actually heard someone else talk about it aside from just someone online. The map is literally so well thought out, and I'm referring back to it and it's easy, and I like the fact that like it's got the numbers, the key. I like the fact it's got a key saying what everything is. After the prologue, I'm literally like barely a chapter into it, but after the prologue I can say that I was very intrigued when I was reading it, because it's like, oh, what's going on here? After the prologue is like 10 years later, and essentially what this book is about is, did I tell you about this? I don't know, but what this book is about is this girl who is a healer in a prison. What can I tell you aside from that? Nothing. I don't know. I also did check to see if all the pages were there. I'm still kind of annoyed about the one dark window situation, because what I do when I get my books is I'll just use this book here as an example. Like, I will like flip through it. Can we talk about this for a second? How sick was it that her husband got her things published? Like, imagine writing in a journal and then being published for people to read, and people reading it. I do flip through to see if there's any pages that look like there's like a misprint, because like some pages, they might be blank. I've seen that happen before, not in my books, but I've seen it happen to other people's books. Like, there'll be pages that are just blank, or like looks like, I don't know. But I do that with my books, but I didn't think to like look at the page numbers. It's never happened to me before. Like, of all the books I have, only having one with that problem is actually like, I say that's pretty good. But it's so funny because I just knew, I don't know why, but sometimes I just get feelings about things, and I just knew that I just knew that there was going to be a book, there's going to be a problem with one of the books. I just knew. But I guess I'll get back to the prison here. I need to clean my room. Like, my room is like actually horrendous. Like, everything is all over the floor and it's making me overwhelmed just sitting in here. I might be able to stress clean because I'm feeling a little bit stressed. No, I'm actually going to be furious. Oh, I'm going to be furious. She's getting sporadic messages from her family, only when she needs the most. Yeah, her family's dead. That's not them sending them. I wonder if the author has read Manacled, because I read that book for the first time when I was 15, and I've read it literally a million times since then. like a million. So trust me when I say I know pretty much everything there is. There are scenes, the entire thing is burned into my mind because I have read it so many times. Okay, so first of all, this was when Manacled was published. This was when The Prison Healer was published. Lynette, the author of The Prison Healer, said she wrote it in 26 days, I believe. That's a very short time to write a book. I also then stalked her Instagram and I scrolled all the way back, and in 2019 she went to the Hogwarts, I don't know, attraction in like Disneyland? Is that what it is? I don't know. And you know what? It's funny because at the start there was so many things I was like, oh, that's reminding me a little bit of Manacled, but I was like, oh no, it's definitely just a coincidence. But now I think I'm gonna start making a little bit of notes on it. Making notes of things that I think, and then at the end I guess I'll go through and try to see. But there's already so many things that I'm just like, I feel like heavily inspired, or like it's just so much of a coincidence, like ridiculous amount of a coincidence, but I don't know. I gotta go to work, but I just thought I'd update you. Oh, she's definitely a descendant. Do you guys remember that movie, The Descendants? I think I watched it once when I was at the sleepover when I was very young. You're actually kidding me. You're actually kidding me. Forgive my lips because I have forgotten my lip gloss again in my little like makeup bag, so that's not very good. But I kind of wanted to just really quickly, before I go and buy lip gloss and go to work, I kind of wanted to talk with you guys about The Prison Healer. And yes, I did bring it because isn't that dedication to me? Okay, so again, I took some notes. A lot of things are repeated. Like, okay, we get it. The guard has amber eyes. She's been described as the amber-eyed guard. The guard with amber eyes, like a million times. Guys, I think she has amber eyes. Also, chapter 30 in specific, when I was reading it, I was like, okay, now if this was not inspiration from Manacled, the coincidences, just how closely related so many things, so many scenes, so many things are in this book to Manacled. I was like, it's either like an insane coincidence, like insane coincidence, or she did take inspiration. Now, I literally have an entire like list in my notes of all the things, and I think at the end of this video, I'll like go through all of them because like I'm reading it and I'm just like, yep, like this in Manacled, like this, and it's such specific or niche things. I'm just like, I feel like not many other people would notice, but I do. So I'll go through them at the end. And you know, I gave you my evidence before. I told you my evidence, but like that's what I think. It's all right. Like I think I might read the others, maybe, I don't know, but not anytime soon. I don't think, 'cause I'm on a book buying ban. There is also so much telling in this book. Like there was this scene that happens in the end, and for whatever reason Kiva is not involved in it. Basically Kiva gets spoken to and it's like, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened, and like that's how we find out as well. But like that would have been so good and interesting to read about because it would have been such like an intense like climactic scene just for us to get a few sentences. I feel like that was so cheap, and I feel like that was just such a lazy way to execute that. I get why Kiva couldn't be there, but do a switch in perspective. Like make it from a random perspective from someone else, which is another thing. I feel like this book would have heavily benefited being dual point of view with her and the guy, just because I feel like his part was just so much more interesting than hers. I didn't connect to Kiva strong enough to like just always want to be in her perspective. I don't know what, but I just feel like something is off with this book, and I can't quite put my finger on it yet. But if you've listened to everything that I've said, I feel like something's off about it. Whenever I see stuff like that, or like stuff like that, I always think of Twilight. There's supposed to be a few like jaw-dropping moments near the end, but like I swear we like already knew some of them just from the way things are being written or like set up. So yeah, not shocking at all, but maybe if I was a bit young, no, I'm pretty sure it wasn't like, it was like, well, obviously, like I'm pretty sure we all knew this was gonna happen. So we got like an extra bonus chapter here. Also, back to the perspective thing, it's literally written in third person point of view. Like it's limited, so it's only in Kiva's perspective. She could have so easily just went inside his mind for a second. Like she did not have to just make her only Kiva. Like what a missed opportunity. I'm gonna put a little screenshot on the scene in about 5 seconds about just my thoughts and the spoilers, so you can close your eyes for a few seconds. It's just so okay. So 5, 4, 3, I'm gonna put it on the screen now. Yeah, that's a little screenshot. Okay. You can open your eyes now. It's gone, but I don't know. Time to read the next book. I just saw long legs. People were screaming in the movie theaters, and then on the way home, I was driving my friend home, and we looked over, like in the car. There was someone who had this like long raggedy hair. It was like all blonde, and their head was like this. We couldn't see their face, and then we saw a possum run across the road. I don't know. I would watch it again. It was actually like, I liked it. thought it was good. I like that there are pictures in these books. Hello. So honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea with this book what I've told you about it. In fact, if I've even told you about it at all. But like, I've been reading it for like the past week and I finally finished it. Basically, it's about this girl called Audrey Rose, and no, she's not like other girls because it is told to us quite a lot. No, she's not like other girls. Like, she doesn't like that girly stuff, you know, she tries, but she'd just rather think about deceased bodies instead. That is what she says in the book. She works with like her uncle to investigate like dead bodies, and like then there is this man who is killing women in the streets, and so she and then this guy called Thomas, who then becomes like a love interest, and her uncle, they're all trying to figure out like what's going on. What I will say, she does not fall in love with the murderer because they're kind of like, I was the girl who loved the Ripper. That's a bit misleading. She does not fall in love with the killer. The reason why I'm saying this is just because this was something that I was like, hang on, well, we've seen it before. We've seen books with that before. So I'm like, who knows? I've already finished this, but I'm gonna give you some of my like thoughts I had. So first of all, I was like, this better not be a romanticization of a real guy who killed real people. I don't really know how this author could have written this story because like Jack the Ripper, he was a real guy and he killed real women. And like, I don't know. Did it have to be Jack the Ripper? Like, did it have to be him? Or could it have been just something else? You know what I'm saying? I like the vibe of the time period in which it was set. The problem is though, is that this book is so predictable. Like, you know immediately who Jack the Ripper is. Immediately. It is so obvious. And I'm not gonna say what, but like, it's so obvious. I don't know how to say this without like spoiling it, but like the way that she went about giving suspects and trying to throw people off and stuff, it was just like so obvious. Please. So you basically find out immediately who Jack the Ripper is by just putting your 2 cents together. Part of me was secretly hoping that, you know, it wasn't going to be this character, but it was, because of course it was. My favorite quote of the book is, where is it? Oh yes, because you're so concerned with disturbing people's lives without due cause. How silly of me to forget. Arresting an innocent man and destroying his reputation is rather dull. Now that you mention it, why not ruin, kind of a spoiler, why not ruin my evening as well? I smiled sweetly. Then you can add picking on innocent men and women to your growing repertoire. Perhaps. I tapped a finger against my lips in mock contemplation. You shall kick a child while you're at it. Shall I help pick one out? I don't know why. When I first read that line, I thought that was absolutely hilarious. So that's why I'm showing it. That's why I threw it quote of the book. Now, I have a few more points to say, right? So in this book, there is like a man, like very briefly, got no relevance, but it's described that like you can smell his rotting teeth. Have you ever smelt rotting teeth? I have. It is a type of smell that I don't think that I can like even describe. I'm very sensitive to smell. Like, Keelan, like I hate, if I had to pick between getting rid of any of my senses, get rid of smell. Like, I would so quick to get rid of smell. And I once said to someone and they're like, oh, but what about candles? I don't care. Like, I would much rather smell nothing than ever smell like bad things, because I hate going on a bin run. Even though the dumpsters like are part of an outdoor section, right? It's still can't. And then people, like, I don't know, people smell badly, shopping centers smell badly. I'm just so hyper aware of smells all the time, and I can't, it just, like, if I could get rid of any sense, it'd be 100% smell, because I can't do it. But like, rotting teeth, it is a smell that like you literally cannot forget. This book is a part of like a series, and the next one is Haunting Prince Dracula, which I actually have. Now, something about me, I don't know why I thought this, but like these are like connected. I was reading a little snippet on the back here and it was like, oh, you know, read forward to Haunting Prince Dracula, and it's the same main character and the same characters. It's just like, I don't know why I thought it was like just part of a series but like not connected. Like, I thought it was going to be like different vignettes of like different things, but no, same characters and everything. So I'm excited to read that. Now, what do I think about this book? Rating. Now, remember, I don't like rating books, but like right now, if I was to rate it, I'd give it like a 3 stars. Like, I don't know, like it was alright. I feel like sometimes it did like drag a little tiny bit, but like there was some nice elements, but like, yeah, she was very much like not like other girls. And that's all I have got to say. My hand is really itchy. Probably have poison ivy. Do you know that like in Coraline, right? Okay, I'm trying really hard. What I've noticed is that I think because I am like really struggling with the idea of like the future, clasp onto like my childhood. So I keep like referencing like childhood movies, whatever. But do you guys remember Coraline? Apparently it's gonna be in like movie theaters, but I don't know, like Wall Ride. Maybe. I'll see if I can, if there's anything in. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I think a main similarity is honestly just the premise of the books. She is a prison healer, Kiva, and with Hermione in Manacled, she's a healer and she does end up in prison. You know what I'm saying? And some could even argue that when she is helping the Order, that's almost like a prison. Like, she's literally trapped there. She doesn't want to be a healer, but she has to because no one else has her level of healing expertise, so she is forced to heal people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, I'm literally rereading Manacled as we speak. You know what I'm saying? So, like, trust me when I say that I know what I'm talking about here. So, yeah. My first point that I wrote down in my notes, I was like, there were other things before, but I can't remember it because I just was like, it's a coincidence, so I didn't write it down. But let's start talking about it. The prison healer, right? They have these things around their wrists. Wrist bracelets. In Manacled, they have bracelets around their wrists, okay? Basically, I have my laptop here, and essentially, I am, you know, going to try to learn book binding so that I can bind this book myself, because you're allowed to do that. You just can't pay someone to bind the book for you because that's illegal. But I have the entire book just in a Word document, and I've had it there for quite a long time. So I will just be looking them up and showing you the evidence. I can't believe, what am I doing with my life? What is this? Where is Manacled? I know it's here. Literally, see? Do you see what we have here? Control F is about to be my best friend. In the light, they simply appeared to be a pair of bracelets around each wrist. I already talked about the healing part, the fact that Kiva also makes potions. In Manacled, she is a potion mistress. Healer and potion mistress. Authority figures that are not evil, but like they're still authority figures. Well, that can just be like Moody and Kingsley in here because they're not evil, but they send Hermione to this mission and it could have gone horrendously, you know? I don't know, that's just there. In chapter 7 of The Prison Healer, Kiva is looking at the dude's shoulder and looking at the scars on him, and he's like, oh, what caused these? Are you okay? Do you see how it says here that she like cares for the prisoners? Well, she also has to heal the prisoners. Yeah. See, if Hermione couldn't heal them, the prisoners would be left in whatever condition they're in. I'd argue that this is like very common in fantasy books. Like, oh, take off your shirt. It's like, oh, I'm flattered, whatever. So we have like obviously the exact word for word there, but I'd argue actually, see, she needs to like help him here. So she's like, you know, whatever. And he's like, if you want to move Rebellion, it's like, that's what it's like, kind of like teasing nature of what's like in here. So I understand like this is very similar. So like, I'm not saying anything with this, but like, I'm just saying, okay? The bruising on his abdomen. Well, there's bruising on the abdomen there, but also this is the exact bruising on his abdomen. Like literally, both of them are also written in third person. Yeah, I'm just noticing the similarities. Okay, this could all just be coincidence, but just hear me out. We still have a lot more points to go. Like, I'm not even like going by my points anymore. I'm just going by like my memory. Like this scene, it's similar. It's like not word for word though, but it's just like, yes, it's just, I don't know. See, this is what I said before. They are known to teach them how to treat more complicated health concerns. That's like, Hermione. Look, starting at, you know, the shoulder, whatever, brushed a finger. He tensed. Top of the thing to look. He didn't flinch. He tensed. He tensed. Crazy coincidences. And I still haven't even, okay, back to what I've written down here. I would say this would have to just be a coincidence. You know, climbing the trees. See, just a coincidence. Just the fact that both characters, like, you know, they have to just work a lot, like all the time, really. The prosthetic hand, the first prosthetic, and this is all like a prosthetic hand, by the way. Like, prosthetic hand. Now it's just like very similar word usage that I really haven't noticed in like many other books, really. But like, I don't know if it's just because I was already thinking this, whatever. So the first one is informant. That was used a lot in this one. You know, just like things like that. You know, spy. In The Prison Healer, it's like she wondered if she ever hated the warden more than she did in this moment. First of all, the warden, that's Umbridge, and she's heavily hated as well. So it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking that, you know, maybe this is just all coincidences. The main reason why I believe that she took inspiration from Manacud was the entire scene when Kiva gets locked up and she's in the dark abyss and she doesn't have any idea of time and space, because that's literally the start of Manacud. Sometimes she wondered if she was dead. She might have thought she was dead. Drip, drip, drip. Drip, drip, drip. Really, chapter 30 and 31 is why I think it's so similar, because, you know, being trapped in the darkness and everything. And so all the examples I've shown being delivered randomly, well, sporadically. Meals appeared, randomized. Light, blinding light. Light, blinding light. Get up, it's time to go. Get her up, whatever. An eternity. After an eternity. Basically, Kiva demands to see his back because it's been injured. Here she is, demanding to see his back because it's been injured. You should have told me. You should have told me. And the amulet. Amulet. Do you see this? See what's wrong with you? Is it your back? Let me see what I have to work with. Here is, you know, what happened to your back. I think I already showed this, but let me see. Literally just, you know, like checking the back and everything. Please, not the explosion. Like, are you kidding me? You know, basically the fighting scene, which is in Manacud here. There's also like an entire apothecary thing, an apothecary guy thing. So yes, there are some things that when you look at them in isolation, I'm reaching, but I think for the most part, the fact that, you know, she was trapped in a little prison cell thing, it was so dark and everything, and then the nature of like the injuries and like the bombs and the fighting and like basically like the entire premise of like being a prison healer and like that entire thing. So that is why I think so. Like it's a crazy coincidence regardless. Like regardless of all that, it's still a crazy coincidence. So I gotta go now, but like